Well, I thought you had a pillion. Okay, some manufacturers make bikes that are designed to go really fast. Others make bikes that are designed to be beautiful. Other manufacturers make bikes that are absolutely dull as dishwater. Well, the bikes that we're going to be riding today are from a manufacturer who's got one purpose in mind, and that's to make bikes that put a massive grin on your face. So without further ado, we're going to get on the gas. United in Dirt is an event organised and hosted by GasGas Motorcycles in order to celebrate and promote the up-and-coming range of models the brand has. The invitation was really straightforward. Come, have some fun, get on the gas and eat paella for lunch. For me personally, the day would see me tackling mostly new experiences. It would be my first time on an MX track, the first time on a petrol trials bike, and the first time riding Supermoto. Needless to say, I was right up for it and rode as hard as I could and for as much of the sessions that my body would permit. However, before the two-wheel hoonage began, we had a quick presentation from the UK sales manager. Interestingly, since the Paella Mobility Group purchased the brand in 2019, the UK dealer network has been increased to a highly respectable number of 22. And in the year to June 22, they have managed to increase sales by 77% on the previous year. A safeguarding of jobs and investments in a newly built trials bike factory in Spain where the company was founded, incredible results on the world stage at Dakar, Moto2 and Moto3, and in Motocross, and the fact that all motocross and enduro bikes are now made with the same R&D input and expertise that both KTM and Husqvarna machines are, can only be good news. First course of the day was an hour-and-a-quarter stint on a motocross track. To say I was a bit apprehensive was an understatement. First time on a motocross bike. Riding on a full-size motocross track alongside pro-level riders was always going to be a jump in the deep end. But after a lap of following the instructor, it was time to pull my socks up and have a go. And it didn't take long until I was having a go at some of the jumps and getting used to cornering in the sandy berms that were a feature of the track. The first bike I rode was the 252 stroke. I got a very good impression of that machine. It had loads of power and grunt. With very little engine braking, it felt the perfect motocross bike to me. It was really easy to turn in the sand without the front tyre diving, and it was fairly neutral on the jumps. After a good stint on the 2-stroke, I then switched to the 250F 4-stroke. Informed by the instructor, I would probably like this one the most. The first thing I noticed, lofting it off the first jump, was that I nearly front flipped the thing. Such is the difference in the engine braking and the inertia once in the air. Again, a few laps later, I was starting to get the hang of it, holding the throttle much more open during the jump phase and all round just having a fantastic time. GasGas had also put a bike on the fleet that was fitted with WP aftermarket suspension, and given more time I'd have been really eager to try it, but honestly with my 1 hour motocross riding experience would probably render any conclusion not a credible one, and therefore I just decided to crack on and learn as much as possible from riding the things. My takeaway from the motocross track is that it's an incredibly fun thing to do, and while I cased every jump and was definitely the slowest in the pack, I had a massive grin on my face the whole time and left feeling adrenaline fueled and with an appetite to do it again in the future. Although in hindsight it probably was a good thing that we moved on. Sending it further and further without the required experience would have probably ended in an Aaron-shaped hole in the floor and me requiring medical attention. The bikes did an awesome job, and even though I gave it my best shot at exploding the shock and snapping the frame, they seemingly shrugged it off as par for the course. So wow, first session done. Hashtag baptism of fire. First go on a motocross track, totally alien to me. Obviously ridden off-road quite a bit, but you know, this was absolutely fantastic. I'm a convert already. Started off with the two-stroke 250, which I absolutely love, and you know, got a good level of confidence. First time I properly jumped a bike as well, and got into a nice rhythm with it. It was absolutely beautiful. Got to the point where I could like land it flat, and then I jumped on the 254 stroke, sent it off this thing. All of a sudden, I'm like coming down like this, and thinking, am I going to save it? A lot more engine braking on that basically. I never really understood the dynamics of it, but got to hold on the throttle a lot more off the jump, and you'll land a bit flatter. But first go, I'm pretty happy with that. Not too much arm pump, and having a great time. I have to say the bikes are absolutely mint. There's a massive difference between these and the Enduro equivalent. If you did take an Enduro on here, you'd be bottoming it out left, right and centre. These things are designed for the job. Yes, I cased pretty much every jump, but you know, the bikes did a fantastic job, and I've got a huge grin on my face. Next up was a go on the new GasGas ES 700 Dual Sport. As we own our own Husqvarna equivalent, the bike itself was pretty familiar. The track set out was a single track wooded enduro loop with some nice and tight sections and some pretty deep rutted parts too. Every time I ride this derivative, I'm blown away by how good it is. Thankfully the ES 700 felt very similar to our 701 Enduro. This is a good thing. But now it seems the ABS off button default is to switch off rear ABS but leave it working on the front. This is good news as far as I'm concerned, and it's my preferred option rather than having ABS fully off. While the bike is still anemic in comparison to a modern adventure bike, at 147 kilos fully fueled, it's still not ideal to be tucked in the front, and the front ABS gives you that reassurance. Actually, for the majority of the time, I rode the bike with full ABS and traction control in mode 2, and I was more than happy. When in isolation, it's easy to come to the conclusion that this single track may be better suited to a lighter enduro bike. But faced with the reality that unlike an enduro bike, you can actually load this machine up and ride right around the world with relative comfort and reliability, it's impossible not to have huge respect and admiration for it. Took me a minute to get my head in there after riding those light motocross bikes to get used to riding a little bit of a bigger bike again, and I haven't done sort of super tight nadgery stuff on my 701 Enduro either, but it always absolutely blows me away about how capable these bikes are. Personally, I think they're about the most undersold motorcycle on planet Earth because they can pretty much do everything from road. You could ride around the world on one of these things, tackle some pretty tight nadgery terrain, loads of rocky stuff. Everything that we do in the Lake District is on one of these. It's an absolute banging bike. There are some updates with the electronics and the ABS and stuff, but man, I mean, look at it. I think it looks fantastic. Really smart looking bike. You should definitely go and check one out if you haven't done already. After these two sessions, it was time for lunch. Typical Spanish paella was served and energy levels topped up for the afternoon sessions. It goes without saying that GasGas are most famous for their trials bikes, with a heritage of competition success and consumer popularity. This was our most instructed session, spending the majority of our time riding around at crawling speeds, focusing on techniques, and generally contorting ourselves into uncomfortable positions and using muscles I didn't know existed. It was a lot of fun, and I 100% appreciate how this type of riding would improve my all-round riding skills by a significant margin. Balance, clutch control, and learning hard to learn skills in a much safer environment.
This is harder than it looks.
The GasGas models themselves seemed fantastic to me. They were easy to kickstart, very stall resistant, and perfectly balanced. Clearly, we only touched the surface on what these bikes are truly capable of, but I very much enjoyed it. The excellent instruction was provided by trialsday.com, whose link is in the description. They offer excellent instructor days, experiences, and one-to-one training at their 200-acre venue in Staffordshire. That's the trial section more or less polished off. A lot to take in today, eh? I've been squeezing my legs on the motocross track and the enduro track. I've been bowing my legs here on a trials bike. A lot of different techniques and a lot of different ways to get it done. Yeah, incredible experience to be able to come and do this. These trials bikes are just made for doing exactly what they're doing, you know, hopping over logs and stuff. I've had a couple of goes at that. Not that I'm a pro or anything, but I've had a go and it's been really, really fun. I want one of these as well. By this point in the day, it's gone 3 o'clock. We've been riding all day. I'm absolutely jiggered, to be fair. I've got blisters like no tomorrow, but now is the time to have a little go on the Supermoto. This is probably second most familiar, I suppose. Never ridden a Supermoto before, but of course we do track days all the time, and it's on the tarmac, so let's give it a go. Although riding a Supermoto bike was a new experience for me, riding hard on track isn't, so I approached our final session with the most confidence I'd had all day. After some messing around trying to get the traction control turned off, it was time to give it some, and what a laugh. Initially I was unsure how to ride the thing, whether to go knee down or stick a leg out. But after a few laps, strangely, it felt really awkward to me riding around the tight corners as I would a regular bike, and I ended up trying to back it in a little bit and stick my leg out. Unfortunately, there was a lot of sand blowing it over from the motocross track, which made some of the corners a bit sketchy, but the tyres had more than enough grip to have a load of fun, touch the pegs down and do a few stunts for the cameraman. So the sun is setting on what has been an absolutely phenomenal day. I've just been on the Supermoto. Again, first time I've ridden a Supermoto, but it didn't take me long to get into it, but turns totally differently to a regular motorbike. I did find myself like sticking a leg out and putting the bars down. It just felt right. Those things are absolute barrel of laughs. Having a go at backing it into corners, doing some wheelies and bits and pieces. Really, really fun type of motorcycling. Lost the front a couple of times, lost the rear, and just had a blast. In the end, the day at United in Dirt was one of the most fun days on motorcycles I've had, and it was full of new experiences. I left absolutely exhausted, with memories made and a high regard of what the GasGas brand and people are doing, and an appetite to do it all again as soon as possible. Well, I brought Mossy in for the conclusion, because well, I don't know why I brought you in, Mossy, to be
Go on,
honest.
make me feel wanted, why don't you? Oh, my value has just rocketed. My self-esteem is in the clouds.
Well, no, you've been here, haven't you? And I tell you what, fair play, man, because like broken foot, you know, you're still recovering, and we've been doing some gnarly stuff today, and you know, fair play, you've had a good go, haven't you?
Well, I've been selective about what I got involved with, but I came along to give it some exercise and to see if it was up to it. And for the things that I did, it seemed good. But really worth sitting on my T-Max scooter for 3 hours yesterday and probably about 3.5 on the way home today. It's been a great day, hasn't it?
Oh, I mean, you know, to pinch myself a little bit today, because it's been a bit of a massive opportunity to come here. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Tell me your high points then. What did you like best? Either bike, environment?
I was most intimidated by doing the motocross because I hadn't done it before, and I look at the stuff and it's like, oh, big jumps and all that sort of stuff. And I would say that was actually a high point.
Right, okay.
End, you know.
What, to have not died during the
course
of
well,
being
that
on
was
a
one
motocross
thing.
bike?
Yeah, but just to build my confidence up, and
yeah,
I was doing some half decent jumps at the end. You know, like case like landed flat on my face on a couple, or felt like I was gonna. But it's all learning experience. I had a go and really enjoyed it. I'd definitely like to do a bit more of that.
How did you find the Supermoto on what was a very tight go-kart style track? Enjoy it?
I really enjoyed that. I mean, I was on track last week at Alton Park, so being back on tarmac was sort of a bit more
Feel at home?
In the comfort zone. Yeah, so I was pushing the bike a bit more.
Were you?
Yeah, I was having a go.
Yep.
You know, and I thought I'd be like going knee down. It just didn't feel right to me at all.
Did you?
I ended up like pushing the bars down.
Oh, good for you.
And sticking my leg out as much as it can go, because I'm a stiff bugger. But yeah. What about you, Mossy? What was your top?
Again, just like it was last year, strangely, the trials. Do you know what? For something with no power and, I don't know, no performance really, no speed anyway, they just give an incredible sort of account of themselves, and just...
Oh, yeah.
It was like starting motorcycling again. You know that new sort of feeling you get with all the novelty and challenge and reward and frustration, it has to be said.
Yeah.
All of that came. It was like being on my RD 250 back in the 70s when I was 17, you know. I looked forward to every little go I had on it, and it was just such an exacting thing.
Yes.
Things had to be just right to stay on it, let alone do a good job. And yeah, stuff that I thought I'd be quite good at, I was rubbish, and then it started to click. I just found it the most rewarding thing of all. I mean, Stuart, the guy running the show here, he's got a trials training centre in the Peak District. I've got to go.
Yeah. Because
I keep only having lessons on riding a trials bike once a year currently. I need to do that a bit more frequently. It's amazing, as I say, for something that on the face of it should be dull, just how stimulating it is.
Oh man, and I think particularly that type of riding would massively improve all of your type of riding.
You can transfer it all to any bike, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Any of these other disciplines that we tried, you know, a lot of trials riders have gone on to be big names, you know, in either off-roading and motocross and then road racing. You know, you're learning about that sort of exactitude and absolute necessity in getting things bang on.
So the guy at the beginning, you know, like the head salesman, you know, gave, you know, shared a couple of slides in there, and he said like GasGas is all about fun.
It is,
do
isn't
you
it?
think, how do you think the day's lived up to that?
Oh, big step.
Yeah, it has,
hasn't
it?
Getting on the gas, it's all a bit cheesy if you ask me, but you can't challenge it really. I mean, GasGas are not going to build a Goldwing style tourer, are they?
Oh no.
They're not going to build anything sensible. This is a bike, this is a raw thing that gets hold of you and just really grabs your emotion and just gives you a bloody good time. You know?
It's excitement, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to talk like massively specifically about the bikes, because you know, look, at the end of the day, all of them are more than capable of doing what they are designed to do, aren't they? And God, how many championships have they won? You know, they're on Moto 2, Moto 3,
and doing
Dakar.
well. Yeah.
Oh, they're doing awesome.
Dakar winners,
Dakar winners, all that sort of stuff.
I mean,
but I think the broad thing of the brand is like, hey, we're going to have some fun. And that today, that's totally delivered.
No, they've succeeded, haven't they, in their wish?
Yeah. And now, do you know what as well? 22 dealers, they said.
Yeah, I saw that,
in the UK.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Look, events like this and the publicity that's generated via the likes of us is only going to help with that brand awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brand push.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's worthy of a push, isn't it? It's a good product.
Man. Yeah, 100%. So, out of 10, how's the day been?
Yeah, but there's always somebody spoiling the shot. He's from the media, you know.
Right, go on, out of 10.
I think I'll give it a 9.
9?
Just I don't want to be...
Yeah.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah.
9 bordered on 10.
Yeah, I'll give it...
Listen, I've had a great day. I'll probably not realise how good a day I've had until I get home.
Yeah.
You know, and sort of reflect and just... Listen, I'd be back in the morning if I could possibly repeat it, you know. Really good. And back next year.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
If they have one, yeah.
Fingers crossed, yeah. So, look, really hope you've enjoyed what we put together for you. Check out all the links in the description. I'm going to put all the links to GasGas and all the models that we've ridden and all the relevant bit of information. Thanks, Bossy, for jumping on that
No bother
bit of interview. And we'll see you next time.